Hello, hello, hello everyone, and welcome back to our another very tall Sicily campaign. Now, in our last episode, we got bogged down in a war with the Telutantians. I believe that's how you pronounce their name. I'm going to pretend that it is. Now, we thought that this would be an easy war to win because they only had about 10 cohorts and about 3,000, or maybe it was a little higher than that manpower, but they did not have very much manpower. And they didn't have very many cohorts. They did, however, have a vast treasury, and they have put it to use, buying 77 cohorts of mercenaries. We have pieced out a couple of their allies. They were originally had the Corkirans as well as the Aetolians. We have not only pieced them out, but we have turned them into feudatories. Now, they do not join this war right away, but we will have them to help add to our manpower pool in the future. So what do we need to worry about now? Well, we are starting to run dry-ish on manpower. Only have about 15,000 men left, plus we have to reinforce some of our armies, and we have to deal with 77 cohorts that they have. We currently do not have the army that can deal with that. How many men do we have in our army? We have 50. Plus all of our feudatories. We probably could win if our feudatories would come around and help us. Instead, 35,000 of our troops have decided to just kind of come and chill here in Corsica. I'm not really sure what's happening in mainland Italy. Either way, we are in a spot of trouble. However, we have taken two feudatories, so really at any point, I would be happy to piece this out and just go ahead and take it as a win in taking a couple feudatories, even if I don't take a bunch of land. However, I would love to continue to... They cannot sustain all of these mercenaries. I would love to continue to run their treasury dry, and this might be a long, drawn-out conflict. So, because of that, we have to think, where else can we attack them? We can look at their other allies. For instance, they're allied with the Dalmatians as well as this inland country, the Dardanians. I'm probably not going to be able to get to the Dardanians, but I think I can get to the Dalmatians. And the Dalmatians are at war with me too. The Dalmatians are also at war with a couple of these countries up to the north. I believe it's these two countries. Yes, they are at war with the Dalmatians as well and have actually sieged down some of their territory. So, I'm going to use the one advantage that I seemingly do have, my navy, and try to use that to the best of my advantage. However, I'm going to go ahead and take my larger army home, just for the time being. Meanwhile, this army of, what was it, roughly 15,000 troops? Yeah, 15,000 troops. They are going to just wait, hold up here, wait for my navy to come back. I do have the naval advantage, which is very helpful. They're going to retake these lands that I have sieged. Of course, most of these are mercenaries, so while the attrition is nice, it's not necessarily super helpful that the mercenaries are running down their own manpower. I would love, if anyone knows how manpower is handled with mercenaries, I'm sure I could look that up, but if anyone wants to go ahead and comment, just help me out. Help me learn how mercenaries are handled manpower-wise. That would be greatly appreciated. I know that I'm looking at martial advances. I am significantly more teched than they are. I could think about getting another martial invention, although none of those really help. Monthly war exhaustion could be good, except I don't really have any war exhaustion. So, not too worried. I'm going to go ahead and move these 72 vessels back towards the 15,000 men here in Aetolia. And I'm actually going to take them and just kind of do that little port raid thing that I have a tendency to do. Let's check out. I might need to sit them down, my navy down in a port for a little while just to heal up some of their vessels. They have been campaigning for quite some time at this point. I may look to be doing that very soon. Looks like we have, unfortunately, lost that siege. They have retaken all of their land. It's kind of a shame because that means that their armies will once again fracture. And it will be difficult to know where they all are. But yeah, they are losing 15 gold per month. Now that's... Yeah, this is going to have to be a very long war if I'm going to hope that we can eventually just piece them down, because their mercenaries end up revolting and saying, hey, if you're not going to pay us, if you don't have the money to pay us, well, we are going to leave. You can see that my manpower situation is kind of dire as well. Thankfully, these two tributaries are not called into the war. I have a feeling that if I do lose this war, it will be because white peace will become imminent, where I won't be able to contest for the war goal. That might happen. If it does, I think we're just going to go ahead and say that it was still a good victory in the fact that we did take a couple more feudatories that might help us out in the future. However, what we need is for our feudatories to come and help us. Either way, I think I am going to try to prepare myself for just a quick port strike. Maybe I can take some slaves, although they seem to be defending their ports fairly well. And come here, and actually I can just do a port raid. What will that happen? I will get 3 aggressive expansion. It will get port raided. It's going to hurt their commerce value, as well as their local citizen happiness, plus it's going to move some slaves. I'm okay taking the aggressive expansion, so I don't really have a lot of it. Let's go ahead and do that. That's just going to hurt their ability to make war. Now, I don't necessarily see... I didn't get like a notification of that, but I'm going to go ahead and assume that it worked. And I'm going to move this fleet here. It does not appear like they have any soldiers here in their... anywhere near. So I'm going to come in, try to just take this port real quick, and then get my men out. Mostly I'm just doing this to see if I can grab a few slaves, also just make their war effort a little bit tougher. Indeed, I was able to take those slaves. I'm actually going to go ahead and see where else I can maybe go. Take this fleet. Of course, my feudatories, if they would just move their 35... I was a little worried about this when the wars for Sardinia happened, because... well, I thought, hey, maybe my feudatories' armies will get stuck over there. It seems like that has kind of happened. That's a shame. Unfortunately, I'm a little blind right now. They could have an army walking my way already from one of these 3 settlements, and I would not be able to see it. But I think I'm going to be just fine. Let's go ahead and try to take this land as well. See if we can grab a few pops. And we did grab a couple pops, or we grabbed a pop and a couple pops passed away. Let's not get away from our goals of building up Sicily into a great and glorious, very tall island. I think I'm going to go ahead and just build another aqueduct here just to make my population capacity a little higher. I also, since I have some money, I'm going to look around at my other major cities on the island. I might think about actually changing Galas into a city as well. I have plenty of political influence. I'm going to go ahead and hit this promote infrastructure spending button. That's going to just help me get a little bit more, some more building slots. And I guess I'm going to build a city here as well. And I think here I'm going to look at a library. Let's get a few more citizens, shall we? And with the extra money that I have, I think I'm actually going to... oh, I should have hit this button first. That's my bad. I'm going to go ahead and hit it while I'm thinking about it, because that's going to make hitting the promote provincial infrastructure spending only 64 political influence. That is pretty darn good. And let's keep going. Going to go ahead and move these men back into these boats just in time, it looks like. And now I am actually going to go ahead and, as much as it pains me, pull back my forces away from the coast, and I am going to attempt to let my navy kind of heal up. I think I'm also going to go ahead and be building a ship. Oh, well, I'm going to go ahead and build a couple ships. I'm thinking a couple more limbosses, one more megapolireme, and a hexareme. Those will go and meet up with our navy whenever they are finished. It's going to be helpful to have some feudatories here, especially when I inevitably go to war with Epirus. Now you might think, why would I go to war with Epirus? Currently they are my tributary. Well, my plan is to do very similar to what I did with these two nations, cut them off as tributaries and instead take them on as feudataries. That would give me a sizable army over in the eastern, or the western part of Greece. Of course, right now I'm solely focused on this war, the Sicilian Talutantian War. It is not exactly going my way, and in fact, every single day, even though I believe we have won every major battle, every single day that ticks by that we do not control part of the war score hurts our ability to win this war. And in fact, unless we can make some gains in the war in the next really 360 days or so, they are going to be able to white peace us. Still, though, it is hardly a white peace. We pieced out 2 of their smaller tributaries, or their smaller allies, and we took them as feudataries. We're not calling them into the war yet, though, or into the war period. One, because I don't even know if I can, but especially we wouldn't want to do that because we would not want them to come be retaken. Looks like I have a disloyal character, but no risk of civil war, so I guess I'm not super concerned about that. I think I'm going to go ahead and take this aggressive expansion change down. That's going to help, because I'm going to go ahead and probably use that slave rate ability quite a bit in the near future. That will just mean that I can use it a little bit more often as aggressive expansion continues to just tick down at close to 0.1 per month, so that's not terrible. And again, it's as long as it doesn't go above 50. That's when we start seeing a lot of problems. It looks like our navy has mostly healed up. That's good. When that happens, I'll probably send it back towards the Illyrian coast. Still, everyone just wants my grain. So, okay, I understand they're trying to feed their people. I, however, am also trying to feed my people. Also, in the near future, I'm going to try to feed me as well, because I am hungry. But that is a story for another time. We're making 8 gold per month. That is very good, considering we are still at full army maintenance, or regular army maintenance. A lot of that is because we are getting a lot of tributary income. Tributary income is good, and in fact, I'm getting in so much from Epirus that it partially makes me want to not take them on as a feudatory, but I do think that in the end, ooh, look at that, even more gold, I will take it, or stability. I'm going to take the gold. Can I build any more buildings? Maybe over here, let's see about you. You still have a lot of Carthaginian pops. We're working on assimilation rate. I think I'm going to try to just make that assimilation rate all that much faster by building a theater. Also, I need to be thinking about the food supply in this region. Oh, it looks like I just should move 1 slave pop here, maybe. Let's do that. Now, I think you're making even more food. Yeah, perfect. So what I did was I just needed 1 more slave pop to get another surplus. Once that happened, I get way more food per month. I do wish that the trade goods were, instead of like just abstract like 1 good, 2 goods per, you know, make it so that every slave working a trade good is worth like, you know, 0.1 goods. So then if you had 10, you get a full one, but then also if you had like 1.8, you would get the effects of 1.8. I know paradox math is complicated, but they're kind of the kings at complicated math empire builders, and you'd think that they could implement a system similar to that. Let's go ahead and I think I'm just going to do a quick scouting mission with my fleet just to see what their coastline looks like. I want to keep just letting the manpower tick up, and I think we're in a spot where we don't necessarily have to worry about losing more war score. And in fact, this war should be over probably fairly soon. They will have forced us into a white peace, which would be a great victory for them. However, I'm going to go ahead and also claim a victory as well, because I took 2 more feudatory states, and I am just collecting as many vassals as possible at this point. I don't think, unless something changes drastically, specifically the amount of money they have in their treasury, which does not look to be going down at a fast enough rate for us to really worry about it too much. I do get a civic advance. I'll come back to that. Unless anything changes drastically, I don't think I'm going to waste any more manpower on this war. I feel like I've already made gains by getting 2 more small tributary states. I'm interested in picking up 1 more. Let's look at you. Okay, so you give tribute. You are a tributary to Macedon, so you are. It's going to be tough to wrestle control away from them. We do have a martial advancement. That's perfect, but again, maybe not helpful in this specific war. I'm going to go ahead and get that trireme discipline up. I should be focusing on more naval, or on those naval inventions as I get them. Oh, looks like we did indeed get that white piece. I'm going to go ahead and pull my fleet back home. The fleet was unbeaten. Our armies were unbeaten. Mostly because we ended up running away from larger superior forces. Either way, I'm going to go ahead and just put army maintenance down to nil. That's going to give me 10 ducats per month and help me build my treasury up quite a bit. In fact, I might consider trying to keep building my treasury up as almost as much as they did, my enemies in that past war, because it's very useful to be able to just, you know, click a button and hey, here's 26,000 more troops, and then click another button, hey, here's 14,000. That might be how we will stand a chance against Rome. After all, Rome could probably do the same thing. Look, they have 819 gold, but they're only gaining 3 per month, so they would have a hard time if they ended up having to, like, merc up very quickly. With that said, we've been focusing mostly on research rate, as well as just pumping up the number of citizens and changing population cultures. As we start to continue to change these population cultures, I might actually try to squeeze a little bit more money out of some of the pops that I have. For instance, let's take a look here. Yeah, I think I'm going to go ahead and first build a theater. But now, it seems like getting some more money would be very useful, so I could think about maybe increasing my tax rates by building some tax offices in cities. For instance, like what if I came here and built a tax office right now? Oh, looks like someone has escaped. That's okay. He looks to have gained some claims, but I don't think he'll make any moves. Unfortunately, we have lost stability. I wonder if it was because of that. Anyway, if I were to build a tax office, I would take my total income from... Basically, it will just increase the tax rate for this location, correct? So, total income up by 0.13. Man, that's not a ton, is it? So, building it early is better than later. Also, local tax up by 10%. Interesting. I'm going to build it, see what happens. Right now, I'm getting 1.61 ducats just from the city of Syracuse itself. So we'll see what happens when that's done. 1.61. Although I would guess that it just increases... Okay, so that's what it does. Basically, it increases my tax rate for this city by 10%, but but it's not 10% of that 1.61, it's 10% of that 1.32 ducats that I get from slaves. So actually building something that increases the number of slaves. So I want to build those tax offices in places that have tons of slaves. That makes sense. This works. I like it. Let's go ahead and use the extra funds to encourage visitors. So let's see, what is my city that has the most slaves? Should I maybe start pushing some slaves into specific cities? All good questions. This is just a settlement, but it definitely should be a city. Also, look at how many slaves that would be here. So I'm going to go ahead and start saving up some money to come over here and hit the found city button. So I need 200 gold and 50 political influence. That's not going to take me that long, especially when I'm getting 8 gold per month. My theater has been built. Perfect. Wonderful. I think here I will focus on building those tax offices. That should mean that I'm making much more taxable income, especially because, look, their base is 1.2, although that base is still not as high as the base here. When you are getting, I wonder, the base is 1.29, the base is 1.21. Why is, I guess because of the fact that it's a city instead of a, or maybe there's a terrain difference. Local food up. Whereas this gets population up, slaves needed for surplus down, local food up as well. So that farmland is very beneficial. What do you have? You have plains, local food up. Interesting. 36 slaves. Oh, at a 90%, 96% pop output. So what is their output here? Their output here is 190% output. Wow. The output efficiency of 188 is due to the following. Average happiness up 88. Tyranny down. Overseers. Okay. Capital region, capital area. Those definitely help me a ton. Whereas here, I just get 96% because of average happiness. My rulers, is that his finesse? But because it's a settlement, it gets minus 25%, so I definitely want to turn this into a city. I could also think about building some buildings. For instance, what happens here? My local slave output would go up 40%. That's big. I still think I want to turn it into a city, though. Meanwhile, other places. Is there anywhere else that doesn't have a building? You don't have a building. Oh, I can build a mine here. What happens there? Slaves needed for surplus goes down. That's good. Population capacity goes up. That's good. Migration capacity, or population capacity goes up. Migration helps. Okay, that's good. I like that surplus needed goes down. That can get me a bunch of gold in itself if I just push 3 more, because then I can trade away some more stone, right? Yeah, stone. So I am going to go ahead and... Well, actually, I'm going to wait. I'm going to turn this into a city first. But before I do anything, let's go ahead and I think I'm going to... Let's go ahead, focus on some money, go up our national tax rate by quite a bit. Look at that. Now we're making 14 gold per month. Now it is all about increasing the number of gold, as well as just kind of working with some of the systems that Paradox has given us. Oh, I'm going to go ahead and say that this will have no effect. Anyway, what I was saying was, now this is about working with some of the systems that Paradox has given us to make our country as tall and fruitful as possible, even with the smallest number of territories. Here, for instance, I do think I want to build a slave estate. It's going to put my slave output up by 40%. They are giving me 0.96 gold per month. Yeah. But again, I'm going to wait and do it once I build a city here. Found a city. Perfect. I think I'm going to go ahead and keep... Obviously, when I found this city, the optimal ratio for citizens and freemen is going to go way up, but instead of building a whole lot of libraries here, I think I'm going to try to keep it pretty slave heavy. I'll go ahead and send my brother off to Greece to compete in the Olympics. I hope he does well. We shall see. You would definitely benefit from a slave... No, not a slave... Yeah, a slave estate, right? Population capacity, local monthly food, local slave output up. Yes. You give me 0.68 ducats per month, but I can maybe increase that by 0.4%, or by 40%. 40% of 68 is not math I want to do right now. Phrygia wants some grain. I don't really want to give it to him. We also should be thinking, while we're waiting for our manpower to continue to rise, as well as our treasury to rise, hey, where is our next avenue of, not conquest, but, you know, expansion? We are... Yeah, I would love to, once again, try to take on the Talutantians. Of course, I have a truce with them. They still have a ton of gold. They're going to just kind of continue to save up. I also would love to maybe try to hem the Romans in. Take some popularity. Ooh, a religious advancement that's going to make my army morale recovery a little bit better. Ooh, freeman happiness and national manpower up. Those are two very good things. Two very good things indeed. I have an unmarried ruler. Let's go ahead and arrange a marriage. Someone kind of close to his own age, preferably. Ooh, you look very strong. I'll go ahead and just go with you. Arrange a feast. Good job. Perfect. I think you are the governor of Magna Graecia. You are not very loyal and losing loyalty. I'm going to go ahead and inspire some disloyalty. I'm going to pay some aggressive expansion for that. I'll have to keep an eye on this, but the higher this gets, the faster it decays. After all, it decays at a base of 0.2% of whatever it is, so it does make it decay a little faster. Of course, any inventions that I can get that would speed that pace along, or maybe this aggressive expansion impact down, would be helpful as well. I think I'm going to go ahead and go with national freeman. No, pop capacity up by 10%. Export. I'm going to go with export value up by 10%. That's going to make me a ton of gold very quickly. Let's check that out. Maybe it'll take a month tick. Either way, my gold's looking pretty good at the current moment. Because I know I'm exporting quite a bit of goods. Let's see if that ticks up at the end of the month. Nope. So that was just what I was getting. All right, well. Oh well. Keep on keeping on with the money that I am making. See, I can build another building here. I think I'm actually going to see is there anything that I can increase slave output by just 3%? That's insultingly bad. Considering my slave, I can build one of these slave estates and increase slave output by 40%. Maybe another tax office gives me another income up, or it increases the tax rate by 10%. Most of my tax rates comes from those slaves. Everybody just wants my grain. I don't really want to give it away. Let's see. What can I do? I should continue to look towards the north. They are now at war, it appears. Are the Romans as well? The Romans are as well. This war will not be a long one. I wonder who started this war. It's the Genuantian Etruscan War. This war is fought over Take Pise, and the score is... okay. So, did the Ganantians attack Etrusca? That was a dumb move, if that is indeed what happened. Looks like Carthage has taken over part of Massalia. That's a little concerning. They might be trying to expand their influence into Gaul. Looks like Massalia does still exist. Can I? No, I can't. Fabricate a claim. Why not? There are no provinces which we could conquer in a war that we could fabricate a claim on. Only coastal provinces in our colonial range or those adjacent to our territory can be claimed. So, what is our colonial range? How do we figure that out? All questions that I have. Is it within our naval range? So if I got like an invention to increase naval range, then would that work? For instance, where would naval range be? Is naval range... I'm pretty sure I saw one of those earlier. For some reason I thought it was... I'm going to go ahead and just take the siege engineers because I want to. Heavy infantry costs down, that's fine. Yeah, so I'm going to be looking... I need to probably look out for naval range. If anyone knows what kind of category, whether it's martial or oratory... it probably is martial. If anyone knows what category of like inventions naval range works out into, let me know in the comments. I guess I'll go ahead and just pay the 26 gold, increase my popularity a little bit. Because yes, I'm going to start becoming a little bit more limited in what I can do. Let's take a look down here. Alright, all of these are feudatories of Carthage. What about you? Feudatory of Carthage. What about you? You are just at war. They're guaranteed by Rome and Carthage. Oh, probably do limit Egypt's exports. Let's take a look at you. You're allied with a bunch of people. You gain a lot of gold per month. I think Crete is probably going to be my next avenue of expansion. I'll go ahead and just fabricate a claim on that province. It's going to be a tough nut to crack, though, because take a look at that. Martial advance is 9. That's harsh. Going to need to make sure that I outnumber them, maybe even bring in some mercenaries. I would not be surprised if they hired some as well, but if we can... The thing about mercenaries is they would have to beat us at sea, because any mercenaries that would really threaten us will have to make it back to their territory before they can be un-black flagged, if you will. Alright, let's see. Population output, or population capacity, or maybe some freeman output. Freeman happiness, national manpower up by 5%. I think I'm going to go with freeman output. That sounds good to me. Might do diplomatic range next. Just keep working on those inventions. And we'll keep working on trying to understand kind of the how the gold works out here. I love how efficient these populations are in this province. Looks like Lilybaeum has become a city. I'm probably... Not Lilybaeum, whatever, Lilybaeum. I'm going to go ahead and, because I know, oh, right now there's no promotion or demotion. That's going to change, I'm sure. Let's go ahead and look at that. That is quite a bit of money to be made. I'm actually going to go ahead and build some tax offices here, or at least one. It's going to get me what? 0.15, 0.16 gold per month more. Every little bit adds up. I also should work to make them happy. Why are they unhappy? You down here, you're unhappy because of aggressive expansion, also because you're in the wrong culture group. So we'll just need to keep working on the culture conversion, which now that becomes a little easier because I can build a theater. And indeed, I'm going to build one. Okay, here we go. We will send a request to our vassals. A vassal for a ducat. Oh, did I run out of money? What happened here? Well, I'm going to do this. We will find funds elsewhere. I'm going to lose some popularity, lose some legitimacy, but not cause all my vassals to hate me. Speaking of, I think I'm actually just going to kind of go on a goodwill tour and improve some opinions around town. Especially in these newly conquered feudatories. They seem to like me at the current moment, but let's just make sure, shall we? I also it might be time for me, ooh, what's happening in Rome? They're at war. Oh, they're going to win, though. These are very small countries. Let's see who's winning the war at the moment. Negative 11 for Rome. But they're just fighting... They're fighting... Who are they fighting? Just these two small, tiny little countries who are definitely not going to be able to stand up to the might of the Roman Empire, or at this point, the Roman Republic. However, we are still influencing you, correct? You are losing 0.7 loyalty per month. You had to have just been bribed, right? Because he was down lower than that just a few moments ago. He had to have just been bribed, right? Can I see how much money he has? He has quite a bit. So we get disloyalty inspired until the end of the game. I'm also going to just make friends with him, maybe? Will that help me with anything? We'll see what happens. I'm going to make friends with him. I need some friends. It's lonely as king. Indeed, my kind of top tier general king is starting to get older. He's 50 years old now. Poor man. Ooh, look at all his brothers. Oh, his two brothers have died. Everyone likes gold. So I can give away 82 gold. I don't have that much gold. I'll give away 52 gold. If I could get the governor of Magna Graecia on my side, they're losing he's losing 0.69 loyalty per month. That is pretty darn good. I wish I could inspire more disloyalty at a time. Benefits of power. Oh no. An outspoken critic has been seeking refuge in our country for some time. He is a man of no importance, banished from his own land. He seeks alms and spreads vicious rumors of debauchery and corruption about the court of Dacus. This could be an excellent opportunity to get in his good books. The wretch has abused our hospitality for too long. So we're going to lose 10 political influence. Gain some tyranny. I'm going to go for it. That's going to make my citizens a little less pleased with me, but that's alright. I'm thinking in the next episode we will have enough manpower and gold to switch the Epirites from being a tributary to a feudatory. I think that would be a good decision. I'll lose some more political influence, that's fine. You are still working on culture converting. That's going to just kind of be a constant battle. Let's see, we're promoting some slaves into freemen. We expected that much. Which one? Do any of them, naturally, what is this? Oh, we have a friend, good. Do any of the buildings increase the number of slaves wanted in a territory? Province loyalty, manpower, 4 level. Anything influence ratio. Ideal freeman fraction. Local citizen. No, but this one does increase output as well as happiness. I'm going to go ahead and build a mill. And 1 more tax office as well. Because right now, I'm making a ton of money from this city. And I want to keep it that way. Making 16 gold per month. That is awesome. Alright, so unfortunately, I think that's where I'm going to have to call it quits today. We're going to have to pay close attention to what happens with this war with Rome. While I do expect Rome to easily win victory, it is good to see the little man beating up on the big man, at least temporarily. I bet you are now a tributary of some kind. No, in fact, they were able to peace out without losing any territory. That is tremendous for them. We are looking good. Carthage does seem to be locking down North Africa. I believe all of them are feudatories. I'll send that raving lunatic away. Now I'll pause the game. Ooh, it looks like the Arvini may actually have a challenge for control of Gaul. We'll see how that works out. Getia looks good. Thrace has completely fallen apart. And indeed, so has Phrygia a little bit. We'll have to pay a close eye on what is happening in the rest of the world. Meanwhile, sitting right in the middle of the Mediterranean, the very tall Sicilians still held a lot of sway, a lot of power, and are a major thorn in the side of both Rome and Carthage, and will continue to be that way for as long as Agathocles II is king. Anyway, I hope you've had a great day. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. I've enjoyed making it, and I look forward to bringing you another one tomorrow.